Hello everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent. Before I begin, I wanted to mention that Forgotten Realms Explained, i.e. me, Jordan, started a Patreon. If you've ever wanted to help us out, consider donating to our Patreon account. If you wanted to chat with me, or vote on upcoming topics, or just be more involved in the channel, Patreon is where you can do that. I'm still building rewards because it's early, but check it out, links down below. Now let's talk about Waterdeep. Also known as the City of Splendors or the Crown of the North, it is a huge, influential city in Faerun. The city is a hub of trading from mineral-rich lands to the north, and Calamshan to the south, inner kingdoms to the east, and far sea kingdoms to the west. Waterdeep sits on an old elven kingdom called Alinthaldar. Alinthaldar was destroyed by negative 1088 DR, and that area became a trading site or meetup point between tribes and merchants. It wasn't until 52 DR that permanent farms arose in the area. The area of Waterdeep was then founded by ship captains docking to trade at this site. By 936 DR, the town of Waterdeep was founded after the locals went to war against the Orcs. Known as the Orc Fastings War, when these battles finally ended, the outpost was known as Nimor's Hold, which then became known as Waterdeep to the ship captains sailing there. The name stuck, and now we have the budding city of Waterdeep. By 963 DR, the construction of Castle Waterdeep begins and is completed by 974 DR. At this point, Waterdeep has a series of warlords that rule the kingdom. It is also in 974 DR that Waterdeep had its first female warlord. The city wasn't truly established until 1032 DR, when Agarin became the first lord of Waterdeep. Agarin was a human mage who created the Lords of Waterdeep, the system in which Waterdeep has been ruled ever since. He got in a disagreement with the previous warlords about how the city should be governed. The warlord attacked him, but Agarin turned his sword into a snake that bit and poisoned him. Agarin assumed control and became the first open lord of Waterdeep, establishing the government that involves the masked lords, which kept the rulers' identities private. Waterdeep is ruled by these masked lords, keeping membership a secret. They hide behind magical masks and no one knows their true identity. I'm not sure why, though, other than assassination attempts are probably more difficult if you don't know who your political figures are. After Agarin's death in 1256 DR, the Guildmasters took power over Waterdeep for 6 years. They murdered most of the masked lords, and by the end, only 2 Guildmasters were left alive. These two agreed to share power and became the Lords Magister of Waterdeep. It was soon after that the masked ruling system was put back in place, and Waterdeep has been ruled this way ever since. The name Waterdeep comes from the natural deep water harbor. The city grew around this harbor and became a commercial crossroads by the northern realms. Presently, over 100,000 people make their homes here in Waterdeep. They've built walls, wizard towers, a massive harbor, the temples to various deities, and by 1215 DR, a massive temple to Mystra was dedicated called the House of Wonder. Waterdeep has a huge variety of faiths. If there is a deity for it, odds are there is a place of worship in Waterdeep. The largest temples in the city are dedicated to Ogma, Tyr, Tempest, Saloon, Mystra, Sylvanas, Maliki, Lathander, Soon, and Tymora. Many of the dark gods have hidden temples and secret shrines, such as Cyric, Umberlee, and Shar. All creeds are respected as long as worship of a deity does not involve the theft or destruction of other beings, i.e. human or animal sacrifice, or the theft of their property. Priesthoods that attempt to restrict trade are also looked at poorly, as that is the name of the game in Waterdeep. Any temple that expects large cash gifts to their deity will not be that popular. The largest rivalry in Waterdeep has to be between the guilds and the ruling lords. Traditionally won by the lords, the guild merchants want to rule Waterdeep, but the masked lords in place keep them at bay. Mostly, though, people are too busy making and spending money to really care about the power struggle. With only 5 or 6 masked lords of Waterdeep and 42 recognized guilds, the guilds lack the organization on their part, and that keeps the masked lords in power. Since 1035 DR, Waterdeep has been roughly divided up into wards. The sprawling city kept growing and needed to be organized. Castle Ward is the first and encompassed Mount Waterdeep. Much of the government is located here, as well as Blackstaff Tower, created by Blackstaff himself, which is the residence for the Archmage of Waterdeep. City of the Dead is Waterdeep's graveyard. Before the Spell Plague, this was often visited by citizens to pay respects to the dead. However, after the Spell Plague, it fell into disrepair. A relentless undead creature arose up in this area, and the city's guard option was to lock it in with the City of the Dead rather than to remove the threat. Dock Ward holds the harbor, the natural sheltered deep water basin that gives Waterdeep its name. It is a bustling place, and underneath the water are mermen, who are paid in food and medical supplies for patrolling the city harbor and keeping them clear of invaders, predators, and hazards to shipping. South Ward is named because it's close to the South Gate. Merchant and traders frequent this area. Sea Ward is where the wealthiest live. It contains many temples along with noble family houses. North Ward is also home to nobility. The rich of the rich make their homes here, far removed from the docks and the busy South Ward. Finally, there is the Trades Ward, which is the commercial section of Waterdeep. Plenty to buy. And that's it for this episode. If you want more information on Waterdeep, I can recommend Waterdeep in the North, as well as Volo's Guide to Waterdeep. Both can be found below, links in the doobly-doo. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Hit a like button if you enjoyed this video. Every little bit helps out a channel like mine, and I will see you next Wednesday.